Hi, my name is Defi, and this is a video confirming what's next to the channel. This video will contain the names of the next 10 games I have planned over the next couple of years. This will be the introduction video for the channel, so regular viewers can come back to watch it, and new viewers can have a taste of what's to come. Without further ado, let's start.
The Quarry.
Welcoming the first horror game to the channel, we have Supermassive's 2022 entry, The Quarry. The same developers who brought us the cult classic Until Dawn. The Quarry is an interactive survival horror game that puts choices and perceptive gameplay at the forefront. The game follows a group of camp counselors who must survive one last night at Hackett's Quarry summer camp. This will be a blind playthrough, so I'm keeping my eyes away from the story, but what I can say is that every choice made will lead to someone either surviving or someone saying goodnight for the final time. Every clue or item missed can spell the doom for likable characters. Every missed button press can lead to a spiral of death, and every mistake can lead us to a face-to-face with whatever hell will await us. This is gonna be one hell of a rocky horror picture show.
Final Fantasy II for the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Making a return is the second installment of one of the world's most award-winning JRPGs, Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy II, and yes, not the American Final Fantasy II, which became 4 at a later date, is the sequel to the make-or-break effort that set the standards for others to follow. Unlike its successor, Final Fantasy II is so much more different in terms of its story, gameplay, and mechanics. Instead of a class system, this game has a self-development system, where every action taken can raise a stat or attribute depending, allowing the player to create characters however they want. The story follows 3 villagers who join with the resistance to overthrow the evil empire. Also, this game is notoriously difficult. Future developers have tried to dull down the difficulty with the remakes, but we want the true experience. Will we succeed? Or will this be our Final Fantasy?
XCOM Season 3 modded with Alien Hunters DLC.
Also making a return is a game I haven't recorded since late 2020, early 21. It's XCOM 2. Fun fact, this was the first game I recorded since doing this full time. XCOM 2 is a squad turn-based strategy game where you play as XCOM, an organization that was set up to defend Earth from alien invasions. This game is set later in the future, where originally XCOM failed and fell, and the aliens being led by otherworldly beings has integrated into human life in an attempt to eradicate the race from within. XCOM is now a guerrilla fighting force, focusing on hit and run attacks while maintaining a progressive pace in research to find a way to get rid of them once for all. This season will include the first piece of DLC, Alien Hunters. The story reforms around a lost signal being picked up on the radios. It's an SOS by the first game's main chief scientist, Dr. Vahlen. The team, under strict leadership, arrives at an abandoned research camp, but what they find is more than they bargained for. Featuring 3 new super bosses that will harass operations and will flee depending on health, will allow for new armors to be crafted, each with their own unique abilities. Also, a new arsenal we can use that was specifically crafted for them. Also, we'll be using mods to further enrich the experience. New classes and cosmetics will await us, and we'll be using Star Wars clone troopers as our soldiers. A recruitment video will be ready for when the game is ready to be recorded. This is going to be one hunt you don't want to miss out on.
Age of Wonders Planetfall.
What do you get if you mix XCOM with Civilization? You get Triumph Studios' 2019 entry, Age of Wonders Planetfall. An X4 game with 6 factions available to play as, each with their own unique unit roster and special mechanics. The story puts each faction on a campaign of objectives, visiting different planets for colonization. It's up to the player whether to be diplomatic, working with the locals for trade and goodwill, or to be conquerors and take things by force. The gameplay is split in between 2 different phases. The construction phase, where we build settlements from the ground up, working different layouts of buildings and recruiting units to either further our development or to expand our territory. The other is the combat phase, where the armies we create goes into battle with either the hostile locals or some of the hostile animals. Movement is hex-based, with each individual unit having its own strengths and weaknesses. We must strategize well, choose the right edicts, and be careful with our words. If we get too lost in the wonders, our plan will fall.
Bravely Default.
Although known for its main series, Final Fantasy, Square Enix, formerly Squaresoft, also created a bunch of spin-off games as well, which rivals its main entries, and this one is no different. Introducing Bravely Default, a spiritual sequel to another game they did called 4 Heroes Flight. This game follows the adventures of a group who aims to protect the crystals from a nation who wants to drain its power to use for their own selfish gains. Draining the power of the crystals would lead to natural disasters. The gameplay is unique as actions are not limited to one a turn. Players who are brave can trade multiple actions in one turn for less in another, opening up new strategies and combos. A class system is also included, allowing for each character to choose from 20 plus classes and combined abilities when certain class levels are achieved, allowing a canvas amount of customizations. The default option of fear is not available. We must be brave and brace ourselves for a grand story of twists and fable.
Dragon Quest VIII, Journey of the Cursed King.
From level 5, and in collaboration with the great Akira Toriyama, we have one of my top 3 favorite games of all time, Dragon Quest VIII, Journey of the Cursed King. A masterpiece of a game with a gripping story, colourful characters, and a soundtrack that mesmerizes. We will experience something rememberable for times to come. The story revolves around a king and his daughter being cursed by a magical scepter, which the family has guarded for decades. A jester who seeks power tries to steal the scepter and transforms the king and daughter into creatures. After gaining the scepter, the jester loses control and binds the castle forwards and turns all the castle's inhabitants into stone, except for one guard, who is the main character. He now journeys with the king in a bid to take back the scepter, whilst gaining new allies along the way. The gameplay involves the standard turn-based stuff, with each character having a few different skill sets they can level up in to achieve new abilities, allowing for multiple reruns to experience new things. A journey of wonder and amazement awaits us. Let's pull the card and break the curse.
Secret of Mana for the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Another series from Squaresoft, we have the classic RPG Secret of Mana for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. This is one of the main games for the Mana series, which rivaled the early Final Fantasy games, but with more emphasis on the fantasy genre. The story features a trio of heroes who is after a man who looks to steal the world's most precious resource called mana. The main character, a boy, who finds a rusty sword not far from his village, has a vision of the trials and danger to come. Explaining it to his peers, they see it as a bad omen and expel him from the village. So it's up to him and two others who share his vision to stop the threat from happening. The gameplay is a real-time battle system where you can play as one character and the other two are AI controlled. There is the ability to change the behavior of the AI to however you like it. There's a bunch of weapons that each can wield to power them up to unlock new skills, and a magic system that grows with power depending on the connection between the player and the element that supplies it. Will this be an entertaining and memorable series? Just wait and see. That's my little secret.
Dragon Age Origins.
From the studio of RPG Masters, we have BioWare's 2009 entry, Dragon Age Origins. A game that many players will have fond memories of. A story that gripped our attention. Gameplay that made us think like generals. And a soundtrack that evokes every emotion we have. The story is about an order of highly trained and highly specialized warriors and mages called the Grey Wardens. Their job is to warn and protect the realm of men from a corrupted, monstrous race called the Darkspawn. The Darkspawn come from deep underground, following the orders of something they worship called the Archdemon. They raise to the surface to eviscerate everything during an event called the Blight. The Grey Wardens rally together humans, elves, and dwarves to stand against this corrupted horde for survival. The gameplay is mainly real-time combat where we control a party of 4, each character having their own unique backstory and colourful personality, and a massive range of skills and spells for us to learn, to craft these people into whatever we envision them. Trials and tribulations will await us. Corruption will infiltrate our mind, but we must be steady. Andraste, watch over us.
Devil May Cry 2.
Making a second appearance for the channel is Mr. Jackpot himself, Dante, in Devil May Cry 2. The second installment to the worldwide renowned series, Devil May Cry. The story follows the events of the first game, where Dante sorted his business on Mallet Island with a demon called Mundus. He is then invited to a place called Via di Mali by a mysterious woman called Lucia, who becomes a playable character with her own plot and game mechanics. A businessman looks to resurrect a sealed demon in order to gain power, so nothing new in the life of a devil hunter. The gameplay is the tried and tested hack and slash which made the first game popular, but with some new mechanics. First is the ability to switch range weapons on the go, going from the classic sexy twin powerhouses of Ivory and Ebony to the double-barrel twin 12-gauge beauty that's the Coyote, gaining the advantage over enemies. Second is the new evade mechanic, where with a single press of a button, Dante can roll, flip, and run along walls to get himself out of trouble. This is going to be one smoking sick style of an adventure, so let's pull the devil trigger, and let's have a rebellion of a party.
Stone Shard.
Released in 2019, we have Stone Shard by Ink-Stained Studios, a roguelike turn-based RPG. This has been described as a very tough but lovable game. As of this video, Stone Shard is currently still in open access, meaning the game is constantly being updated. Hopefully by the time we get round to it, the game will have a full experience just waiting for us. The story is based around us being a mercenary for hire, being able to accept jobs to keep our pockets rich and our bellies full. This will be a blind playthrough, so I have no idea what to expect, except for a stark warning from developers, and I quote, "There's no hand-holding, and the game will punish you for your mistakes." It's been described as a game of preparation, making sure we have able stock and sufficient weaponry and armor to withstand anything. With a massive emphasis on character creation, we can create characters however we like. So, let's hope we have the stones for this grueling adventure which awaits us. Otherwise, our dreams of fame and fortune will shatter into many blooded shards. So, that is the 10 games which has now been confirmed for the channel, and I am looking forward to playing them for both mine and your entertainment. Some will be shorter or longer than others, but hopefully each series will be just as memorable as the ones before and after them. I'll do another game confirmation video when we are close to finishing the final 2. If you have any questions or suggestions for titles for the list, please feel free to comment below. Thanks for watching, take care.